I never realized that university would truly reveal my true self. I used to think I was this super cool person who could handle anything and everything, but as soon as I stepped foot into university, I quickly discovered that I was the complete opposite of what I thought. Let's go back to my very first day at the university. I can't even begin to describe the overwhelming feeling that washed over me. The unfamiliar faces and surroundings made me feel like I had been transported to a completely different world. It was the first time I laid eyes on the people who would be my companions throughout my time at the university, and for some unknown reason, it made me incredibly nervous. To make things even more interesting, this university campus was situated right next to a forest. Before I even set foot on this campus, my family and friends bombarded me with advice on what to do and what not to do in this place. I never paid much attention to the ghost stories my friends shared because I had never encountered a ghost before. My first day at college was unforgettable. I was thrilled, anxious, and a tad nervous all at once. I couldn't wait to discover the campus and make new friends. The dean of students kicked off the day with a warm welcome speech. He shared the university's background, its objectives, and the many resources at our disposal. After that, a group of student volunteers took us on a tour of the campus. They showed us around, highlighting the different buildings, classrooms, and amenities. Seniors had warned our group not to walk alone or touch the plants or flowers on campus at night. They advised us to walk away if we saw anything suspicious. I followed their instructions, but I couldn't help but wonder what would happen if we disturbed the trees in the woods or plucked the flowers. During my time at the university, my days were filled with waking up, preparing for class, studying, attending class, going back to my room, studying some more, eating, and sleeping. It may seem easy, but it was actually quite challenging. One day, I overslept and found myself alone in the room. My roommate had already left for class. As a university student, I had to get used to sharing a bathroom with others. After taking a shower, I grabbed a towel to dry off. Suddenly, I felt a drop on my body. When I examined it with my finger, I was shocked to find that it was blood, and it had a foul smell. I look up, searching for blood, but I can't find anything. I scream out, asking if anyone is there. Maybe someone is playing a prank on me, but no one answers. I clean myself up and head back to my room. This was my first encounter. Usually, I always come with my roommate or friends, but this time, I was alone. The next day, I wake up with a fever, probably because I couldn't sleep well thinking about what happened. After this incident, I start to believe in ghosts a little bit, so I share the story with my roommate, who has also experienced something similar. One day, my roommate and I come back late from class because we were studying. On the way, I feel like something is following us, but whenever I turn back or look into the woods, there's no one there. I remember my senior telling me not to turn back if anything strange happens. So we just keep walking and finally reach our room. We're exhausted and quickly fall asleep. Suddenly, I wake up and see that it's around 1:30 a.m. When I turn to look at my roommate, I see a black shadow standing next to me, watching me. I can only see its red eyes staring at me. Suddenly, the shadow starts choking me. I try to fight back, but it's no use. I scream for help, but my roommate can't hear anything. He keeps sleeping as if nothing happened, while I'm screaming for help at the top of my lungs. I feel my breath getting shallower and shallower. I pray to every god I know, begging for assistance. Suddenly, my roommate wakes up and turns on the light. The dark shadow is gone. I ask my roommate why he didn't help me when I was screaming for help so loudly. He says he didn't hear anything, but he felt someone shaking his hand, so he woke up to see who it was. I then share my experience with him, and neither of us can sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I tell my family about what happened. I have to continue my studies at the university, but my family thinks it was just my imagination due to exhaustion from studying and other activities. Time goes by, and we continue to experience similar incidents, with someone repeatedly knocking on our door late at night. As a temporary solution, my roommate and I decide to sleep in another room with our classmates. However, as time passes, these unsettling encounters persist. In our search for a solution, we continue to sleep in different rooms with our course mates on campus. These eerie encounters continue to haunt us until we finish our studies. I, who was once a skeptic, now believe in the supernatural, understanding that true belief only comes through personal experience. My first day at the office was quite an experience. I was filled with a mix of excitement and nerves as I got ready in the morning. I made sure to wake up early, take a shower, and put on my best formal attire. After having breakfast, I headed off to the office, hoping to make a good impression on my colleagues and boss. The building itself was really impressive, and the interior was beautifully designed. When I arrived, my boss warmly welcomed me and introduced me to my new colleagues. They were all friendly and helpful, which instantly made me feel comfortable in my new work environment. Our office had a cubicle layout with a large row of cupboards for filing. It was mostly used for storing old files, as we had transitioned to digital filing. The room was rarely entered by employees, and after 6 p.m., the lights in that section of the office would gradually be turned off. After working there for 6 months, my boss started to trust me more and assigned me a big project involving overseas client. As a result, I began staying longer in the office to ensure everything was properly taken care of. One Friday, I found myself staying past 6 p.m. for the first time, as I had an urgent file to submit by Monday. Around 8 p.m., I started to sense something in the office. I didn't pay much attention to it, as my main focus was on completing my work. However, I began hearing the sound of papers being flipped, printers running, drawers opening and closing, and even someone tapping their pen on a table. I assumed it was just a colleague who had stayed late as well. Once I finished my work, I shut down my laptop and headed towards the elevator to leave. That's when I noticed the office security guard. I asked him if there was anyone else still in the office, and he informed me that there was no one else present. He had just finished checking the entire office and saw only me. He mentioned that he was about to lock up the office for the night. Feeling frustrated and confused, I made my way back home. The mysterious presence in the office left me with a sense of unease, wondering who or what could have been there. While driving, I start wondering who's still in the office. I can hear the printer, the rustling of paper, and a knocking sound. Another day, I have to stay late again to prepare meeting documents for tomorrow's client meetings. Around 8 p.m., I sense someone entering the office. This time, it's the security guard who approaches me and asks if I haven't gone home yet. I explain that I need to finish some documents for tomorrow's meetings. I inquire if anyone else is still here, but he informs me that I'm the only one in the office. As time passes, I begin to hear the sound of a baby crying. It's like the cry of a newborn. My arm hair stands on end and I can't figure out where the sound is coming from. Suddenly I feel someone standing behind me whispering, "Get out!" I quickly turn around, but there's no one there. I'm terrified and decide to leave. I shut down my laptop and head to the restroom to wash my face. When I return, I try to open the office door, but it's locked from the inside and all the lights are off. The office is pitch black. I go down to the lobby to meet the security guard and ask him why he closed all the doors and turned off the lights. He assures me that he didn't close anything and was waiting for me to come down before locking up. We both go back to the office and open the door. I'm shocked to find that my laptop is still turned on. I grab my belongings and leave the office after this incident. A week later, I find myself in a situation where I have to stay late at the office to finish my work. This time, I ask a colleague to stay with me. Around 7 p.m., it's just the two of us in the office. He gets up and walks past one of the glass doors with black tinting. We couldn't see inside the room next to mine, but I knew it had a huge cupboard filled with old log files. Suddenly, the cupboard next to the black glass door broke on its own. I called security and we both gave a statement. The next day, our team said we couldn't work for 2 weeks because they needed to replace the cupboards. After 2 weeks, I stayed back at the office to catch up on work. That's when I met a cleaner who told me about 2 incidents that happened in the past. One was a pregnant lady who committed suicide due to work stress and family problems, and the other was a man who had a stroke and died on the spot. The cleaner claimed she could still sense the smell of fresh blood and prayed every morning before entering the office. After hearing these stories, I never stayed back in the office again. The office underwent renovations, but there were still ongoing problems. Eventually, the management decided to move to a nearby empty office. After resigning, I visited the old office, which looked amazing after the renovations. However, no one was renting the office, which made me believe that there was something still lingering there. Thank you for watching. That's all for today's video. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you have any suggestions and experience related to the content, feel free to leave them in the comments below and join us on this journey.